there was a point in this movie when, this had to have been about an hour or so in, maybe a little bit more, and because it's about a 90-minute movie, and there was a point where you had enough, and you just leaned forward, you had your head on the chair in front of us, and then you had your hands up like this, and I looked over and saw it and was like, in this moment has Dave found religion?
This was very nearly the second movie I walked out of.
I wouldn't go that far.
20 minutes into it, I was done with this fucking movie. An hour, I was.
Oh, I was too.
Oh.
This, just to get it right off the bat at the top, this is bad. It's bad, but going before the movie even started, this was kind of funny. We go in here, we're seeing this at Parkway just because the time just lined up better at the showing here at Parkway. So we get in there, and there's a lady standing at the door for the auditorium showing the Emoji movie, and she stops us and goes, she goes, "Are you two here to see this?" And we're like, yeah. She goes, "Oh, well, I'm a manager at the local Chick-fil-A, so we're handing out free cards for sandwiches over at Chick-fil-A." Mine's in my pocket somewhere. Dave's got his.
Guilt-free hate sandwich.
So
I at least get a guilt-free hate sandwich.
Hey, like, you know what? Something positive came out of this. So the lady, she hands us these, and then when someone is saying that to you, you almost expect there to be people in the theater. But I was like, "Oh, thank you," took our free thing, looked over, there wasn't a single fucking person in that rather large auditorium in there. So we're like, oh, it actually kind of took me aback a little bit that there was nobody in there. So we go and sit down, the trailers start, and the projector was aimed a bit too low, so there was a good portion of the screen that was showing on like the curtains underneath the screen. I was like, God damn it, it's always in a shitty movie that I gotta get up and be like, "Oh, hey, do you mind fixing the over in the..." So I got up, went to concessions, and I was like, I didn't say the Emoji movie, I was just like, Theater 7, the projector is a little bit low. And then I go back, that same lady stops me and goes like, "Oh, hey, are you here to see this movie?" And I'm like, oh, I was just in my head, I'm like, "You a robot?" And like, so I was like,
why didn't you get a second thing?
How did she forget where I was one of two people in there?
Listen, honestly, if I had to stand at the door to the Emoji movie all day and hand out coupons, that woman's probably seen that movie already 3 times today.
She wasn't in the theater watching this.
She might have been. I'd be
when I got up to use the restroom. But even like, given that, you know, it'd be one thing if there were several other people in there, but there weren't. It was just me and you. But I was like, oh, and she was like, "Oh, right, you were just in here." But like, there was that other family that did come in there, and I didn't hear them come in or sit down, and you did, and you said to me, like, "Should we get people in here now?" And I turned around. Apparently, if you're a kid going to see this,
they give you masks.
They give you masks, so I turned around, and there was an Emoji staring at me from the fucking seats. Like, did I get high in front of this? Like, Oogie loves it, except forget about it? That was jarring. When I got up to use the restroom, that kid in the audience was not having any of this. He wasn't even sitting with his parents. He was sitting off by himself in one of the other seats, just sitting there doing nothing, as if he was embarrassed that his parents paid money for this.
Yeah, no, like, you got up, and I looked over, and that kid was in the same aisle as us, just across the row. Or the same row, but across the aisle, I should say. And I looked over at him, and he looked at me, and we both just kind of went... Right. Like this 5-year-old kid.
Yeah.
What a soul-crushing piece of shit.
Yeah, you know, like, here's the thing about this movie. Look, before this movie was even released, there was stuff on Twitter where everywhere else that's like, "Oh my God, this is the sign of the end times,"
no,
and shit like that. It's like,
that.
No, it's
if
not.
You didn't think this was gonna happen when you could go to the store and buy a poop emoji pillow, fuck you. It was gonna happen. It's not the sign of the end times. Shit like this has always happened. We grew up in the 80s when every fucking cartoon we watched on Saturday was based on a toy line.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I
this
totally
is not
agree.
the end times. This
No.
is par for the course.
It is. Every generation has something like this. And yes, don't get me wrong. This movie's bad. It is. Don't get me wrong. But when I see stuff like, even like professional critics saying stuff like the end is near and shit like that, like, okay, settle the fuck down. Like, there's been products out there based on like the gummy bears, the Rubik's Cube,
Yeah.
plenty of other things based on food, toy lines, fast food. Like, every generation has something like this. Now, you can argue that this is a worse movie than a lot of
But the fact
other
that it was
stuff.
made is not surprising. It is not
No.
the end times. It is par for the fucking course. And that's fine, because sometimes somebody makes something out of shit like this and it turns out good or oddly subversive.
Like
or
the
something.
Lego movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a brilliant movie.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it works.
This-
Most of the time it doesn't. This is one of the worst examples of it.
Honestly, it is. And here's the thing. Watching it, I could kind of see where a talented set of writers could have made something out of this. I could have from watching this.
The fact of the matter is they aimed for a children's movie for something that most people that use it are at least in high school or older.
Mm.
You know, yes, kids have cell phones and kids use emojis, but most people that have cell phones are at least teenagers and shit. Go weird. Like, go weird. Go dark.
Yeah.
Make it unexpected, and it could be interesting, because the basic concept of the movie isn't a terrible concept.
Well,
it's not a great concept,
it's-
but the idea, but it's still, there's no there's nothing. Even a bad kids movie, you can find something charming or something off, or even a really bad poop joke can be funny. This has nothing to it.
No, I agree.
It is
I totally
an hour and a
agree.
half grind.
Yeah, I totally agree. But the thing about the plot of this movie is,
Not the plot, but the basic, like, oh, the emoji that has different.
oh well,
The guy who can't pull off his thing, so he's an outcast. All right, go from there.
but the reason why they're doing that in this isn't to be clever. It's because this movie is Wreck-It Ralph. It's Inside Out. It's even the Lego movie. It's that. Wreck-It Ralph. Well, I want to be more than just a villain. Inside Out. I can be more than just an emotion. Lego movie. I can be more than just everybody is awesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this is. Whether you like those other movies or not, I happen to. Wreck-It Ralph I thought was just kind of okay, but the other two I really liked a lot. They kind of worked that plot well into their movies. This is a movie that it's all the emojis living in Textopolis, in which whenever the kid outside the phone gets on his phone to put in an emoji, they all get scanned, and then it goes through and you see the emoji on the phone. You see that in the trailer. But for whatever reason, in this universe, the emojis that are faces have to constantly go around as that emotion because plot, even though none of the other emojis do, just really the faces ones. And TJ Miller is Gene Meh, who wants to be more than just a meh. Yes, I've seen this in other movies. And when he gets scanned, all he has to do is just stand there, give a meh face, get scanned, go on about his day. Like, I'm sitting there watching this, like, you set up this universe that blatantly rips off other movies, and you're not even doing it in a way that makes any goddamn sense.
No, nothing in this makes sense. And then it goes so far as to, like, and this incredibly generic fucking movie. They're like,
Yeah.
we have to go through the entire phone. So they're running around on the wallpaper between apps and just going into apps. And it's just like going into like how much the people behind Candy Crush paid for the fucking promo in this. And, or what, Just Dance and, yeah.
Dude.
Facebook and Twitter and shit. And, you know, it's likely that maybe the studio had to pay those people and it was lazy writing, but it felt as bad as fucking advertising in Man of Steel. You know, like,
well, at least in Man of Steel, Superman didn't just stop for 20 minutes to play an arcade game in a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
No, he just blew it up with people inside of it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, at least, like, this movie, products like, look, okay, you're going to expect some level of advertisement in a movie like this, certainly. But this movie is so lazy at working it into the plot that the movie just stops to do an advertisement for Candy Crush. It just stops to do an advertisement for Instagram or Just Dance. The plot and everything just stops dead to advertise these products. It doesn't do anything clever with it, doesn't really do anything satirical, and even when it does, it doesn't make much sense, because this movie starts out, it sets the tone right at the beginning when the narration goes, smartphones are the best inventions in the world, and here's why. So okay, it's building up its product, but then later on, it's also really cynical about it. It wants to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It wants to advertise the fuck out of these products, but then do stuff like, isn't it so annoying when people on Facebook show pictures of their kids?
Or just... And it felt like it was trying to go for this weird, because there's also the kid with his phone as a character in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like this weird emotional disconnect that all these kids with their phones seem to have with each other. They're only communicating from like 2 feet away with their fucking cell phones. And the movie seemed to be like making a jab at that, but at the same time, everything is resolved through a text message.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, you can't be cynical
Yeah.
about something and then just decide that it's also the solution.
Uh-huh.
If you're going to be cynical about it, be cynical about it. Like, being straight up cynical about some of this shit could have made it work better.
And I wonder if the reason for that is because you had 3 writers on this movie. 2 of them seems like it was kind of par for the course, this kind of movie. The other one is Mike White is credited on this. And I don't know what bits of this movie his input could have been, but that could explain this kind of difference between being very cynical about this product and just outright stopping to promote it.
Well, and you know, I like Mike White.
No, I do too.
For every weirdo, fantastic Mike White movie, there's something else.
Sure.
You know, it's just like, there's Chuck and Buck, and then there's School of Rock.
I like School of Rock.
So do I.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I found out that Mike White was writing the School of Rock movie, I was like, this is going to be a fucked up movie. And it wasn't, which is fine.
It's kind of like Linklater in that regard, you know what I mean?
It's just kind of like, is this going to be Waking Life, or is this going to be Bad News Bears?
Yeah.
Like, what am I getting today?
Yeah. The tone is weird in that regard, and they spend so little time with the kid and the phone that when it kept, I don't know if you had this problem, when it kept cutting back to him, I forgot he was even part of this.
Well, and here's the other problem that they had with that is, to make that effective, what they should have done was, since they're stealing from these movies anyway.
Oh yeah, hardcore.
Steal from the Lego movie and make those parts fucking live action.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, it would have been still shitty.
yeah.
But it would have been a little more clear, as they wouldn't be animating them in the exact same fucking style.
This movie reminds me if the footage from Food Fight wasn't stolen and the animation was not as bad as the animation in Food Fight, but you're still left with all the shitty jokes from that. Because really, that's what it comes down to with this. When you see moments of like, I could see something working here. Like when they're in the trash bin and the Just Dance girl's like, I just wanted to dance, I just wanted to dance. Like moments like that. Or when they're in that weird bar and there's the internet trolls. And even when there's robots.
But also, why are there internet trolls in the jailbreak program?
Oh, I don't know. But
you know, shit like that. It's just like,
yeah. But there, not that this movie did it well, but there were things like that where I was like, I could see someone making something of this. None of it is in this movie, but I could see someone making something of it.
Like the bare building bones. Are kind of there.
Yeah.
But it needed like 8 more complete fucking rewrites.
It had jokes that you would see in Food Fight. No matter how much you think this plot might be clever or could have been clever, or that you might think they're doing something dark, like the fact that the robots are chasing him, so it's almost like this weird phone version of Logan's Run. If they made it super dark with that shit, yeah, that is something they could have had. But unfortunately, this movie its focus is not on being clever. Its focus is cramming in a shit joke every 2 minutes, which is why this movie is significantly worse than like other things like it that kind of come along with every generation. This between the shit jokes, the high five just stopping to say the word hashtag, the high five and all his random quotes and dances. He is just there to throw out one-liners, and that's it.
It's yeah. No, and you know, there was one running joke with the poop emoji in the entire thing that I honestly thought was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It was the only joke in the entire movie that worked for me. It took me an hour and a half to realize what they were doing. But every time another character touched the poop emoji, they would wipe their hands off.
Oh, I missed that.
It was subtle, and that's why I liked that. That's the highlight of the movie, though. Everything else is utter fucking garbage.
Yeah. It was good casting having Stephen Wright play
the dad.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And, you know, as far as a voice performance, T.J. Miller, his voice performance is fine. It's just that the movie's terrible.
Did you also think this was a really ugly looking movie?
I did, because it was... One, it's... Okay. We all have fucking cell phones. Mine's the light, Brad's is the camera right now. But we all have fucking cell phones.
Yeah.
And I know it's a cartoon. But no one's phone screen looks like it looked like in that movie.
Sure. I mean...
And just shit like that. It's basic fucking design. And just the color schemes are off.
It's weird.
Yeah, and it's just everything...
It looks like a prototype.
Yeah, everything was also so cluttered and busy, like too much.
But then it would be the direct opposite of that.
Where they'd go into something and it's like, this is the simplest, weirdest,
just this,
like, oh, you're riding on a bunch of zeros.
Yeah, like, or they'd be in those hall between the blocks, and it's
just colors of horrible,
like color bars is more interesting to look at than this. And even the characters themselves, when you take really uninspired backgrounds like this movie has, and our characters are just these floating balls with little stick legs and hands, this was not an interesting movie to look at. It was really boring to look at. Like, I can't even, like, I've seen... It's just badly designed. I've seen cheaper looking animation, certainly.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look cheap. It just looks rushed and poorly done. And that might be part of, I mean, they're fucking, the characters are emojis, which are simple things, and to make them recognizable, you don't want to enhance them too much.
Sure.
But at the same time, then do something with the backgrounds. Do something, like, make something else Like, and there was so much going on screen and so much color and everything that there was no depth. Nothing popped.
No,
like when
dude,
your
totally.
main character is basically like Pac-Man with a little poof of hair.
Yeah.
Like, he should pop out from something, and he doesn't.
Animated Pac-Man did more interesting things than this movie does. It did. And you even, like you were talking earlier about this movie wants one thing, but then does something completely different. This movie, like the movies that it's ripping off, has this message of non-conformity. But then, and you pointed this out too when we were standing outside the car, the princess character,
who through most of, I mean, it's you know as soon as you see her, because they're talking about this princess that disappeared, and they meet this hacker who's obviously an emoji wearing a blue wig, and it's like, okay, that's the princess, and it turns out to be the princess. Like, so basically the two characters have different trajectories emotionally.
Yeah.
Whereas Gene realizes that, oh, he doesn't need to, because he wants to conform, and decides,
Yeah.
oh, I don't need to conform.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to conform, and then at the end conforms.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Your my mind wandered in this, because it is fucking easy for your mind to wander in this. And you'll start thinking of weird things that you wouldn't be thinking of if this movie was any good. When she reveals at the end to all the other emojis that she's the princess, and you hear her parents in the background, like, oh, Sydney, or whatever the fuck her name is. And you just hear in the background, and she's just like, not now, Mom. And my head was going like, from your parents' point of view, you've been missing for God knows how long.
Yeah.
In this universe, I guess just be lucky if you even have parents, because they kind of pick and choose that. They have the thing, too, like, I don't know, a lot of this doesn't make sense. There's, again, this seems like it would be a clever joke, where it's the room full of losers, which are the emojis that don't get used very often, but yet the eggplant is in there, which I've always heard was one of the more popular ones.
Well, it's used a lot as a representation of a big black penis, I believe. Now, in the context of the story, this freshman in high school not using that makes sense to me. Unless he's into big black dick.
He could be.
I mean, who knows? He's only like 14. He might not know what he's into yet.
We don't know much else about this kid.
Listen, you know, it's nature, not nurture, don't get me wrong, but some people have an awakening later in life, and maybe he just hasn't reached it yet.
Now it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. And there's even, like, when he bumps into the emoticons on the street, and he says, like, oh, I hate knocking over the elderly. At first I was like, that's almost a clever joke, and it's instantly followed up with one of them going, oh, my colon.
Yeah.
Fuck off, movie! Oh, wait, Allison missed a real winner with this one.
Yeah.
Allison fled to Canada to keep proceeding this. Look, you know what the positive thing about this movie could be? It would be a fantastic choice to put in a time capsule. Like, it really would. In the same way that if we made a time capsule in 1996, we throw fucking Space Jam in there.
No, but Space Jam, while horribly dated and not a good movie, was at least a cultural phenomenon. This movie will not be.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but both certainly represent their period of time.
Yeah.
Space Jam does to the mid to late 90s. This movie it's getting shit reviews, like, and the people who see it really don't like this fucking movie. And I understand why. It's a fucking horrible movie. But for better or worse, this movie does have a lot of shit in it that is this period of time in 90 minutes. They even throw this kind of bad kids movie into it. Not so much the commercialism, all that, but more just the kind of jokes that are in it.
Yeah, that's just... Yeah.
This is the most anyone has watched this live. We're at 1,300 viewers right now. I think
it's a fucking Saturday night.
Well, before we get into final thoughts, I guess, about this, if you don't know what Super Chat is on here, you can buy.
Oh, do we have a question?
Yeah, we do. It's an easy one. Michael sent us a question, I believe last night. And as you buy into Super Chat, you're in the chat log. It pops out like it stands out over the other ones. We can't always see it, but if we don't, we try to read it the next time, because it's saved. It's saved in the log we get afterwards. But he asked what the song was that is used in the midnight screenings in 5 seconds. If you don't know what that is, we haven't done that
in a couple of years.
It's been a while. That was something I think we mainly did when this was more of a seasonal show, because it used to be they only did like the Thursday night preview screenings here during the summer, and then in 2013 it turned into a year-round
I will say those
thing.
5-second videos, I liked those videos.
They were a bitch to make.
Yeah, because you gotta remember the best moments.
Yeah, you gotta go through hours of footage. But there was music that was playing whenever the titles would show in them. It would be like, if you don't know what that was, it was basically like a few months worth of midnight screenings condensed down to just like a sentence or two for each movie that was seen.
Yeah.
So like Thor would be like, it would cut to me just going frost giants or something like that. And so some stuff would be wildly out of context. And anyway, it was the theme to Taxi. The theme to the TV show Taxi was playing during it. I'm not planning on making any of those videos. I don't even know if those videos still exist anymore, honestly. I don't know if they survived the bullet purge or not. Anyway, that was our question. My final thoughts about this. Look, I know there's going to be a lot of people who will probably go see this movie, ironically,
don't give this money.
I agree, and
don't, because they might make a sequel. If it makes its money, they'll make a sequel.
I have no problem recommending people to go see movies that are certainly entertainingly bad. Brian and I did it with The Book of Henry and Wish Upon. And if you want to have a laugh at something really incompetent, you'll have a much better time at either two of those movies. This movie is bad, and I know for a lot of people, curiosity will get the best of you.
But it's bad in the sense that, like, it's not
enjoyably bad.
Yeah, it's not like a spectator kind of fun bad.
No, it's not at all.
This is a boring trudge of just nothing.
Yeah, it's really
failed attempts at things. Like, at least a bad horror movie or something like The Room or Troll 2, those are fun bad. That's bad you can watch because you're just sitting there going,
yeah,
what? Mm-hmm. This is just...
Yeah, you're not going to enjoy yourself sitting through this, and maybe some of this would have worked better as animated shorts if they just made animated shorts based off of the emojis. I don't know, but this movie, it's bad. It is really fucking bad. Again, look, this movie's existence doesn't suddenly mean every movie from now on is gonna suck. Of course not. Just don't go see it. Just don't go see this. Just ignore it and stay home.
Something like this that's an obvious cash grab comes out every couple fucking years. It's not surprising. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the movie industry. The problem with the movie industry, honestly, it's not that they make shit like this. It's that they make 8 things like this a year now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation. It really is. My thoughts on the movie industry and oversaturation are beside the fucking point.
Well, I think the last kids movie you and I went to go, we were talking about this the other day.
The last one I really remember was Oogie Loves.
I think it might have been Oogie Loves. Now we got this. Well, in 3 years from now, what in the fuck is going to be the next one?
The Good Dinosaur.
Oh.
Which also wasn't very good, but at least it was pretty.
Yeah, I wasn't that big. Although, we are going to have to see that fucking trailer that they showed in front of this. There is a movie coming out that is a 3D animated religious movie about the name of this movie is The Star. Please look it up. It's called The Star, and it says, from the studio that brought you Miracles from Heaven and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, because those go together. And so it's about the birth of Jesus as told from the point of view of the animals. So it's Tracy Morgan and Tyler Perry as these talking camels carrying Mary and Joseph going, Lord, it's hot out here.
Yeah.
What?
Keegan-Michael Key as a dove.
This movie, it reminds me of, there's also another religious animated movie that was about, like, the animals that missed Noah's Ark, and I think the name of the movie was Whoops.
Fucking unicorns and shit.
So, I hope to God that comes to Springfield.
Even if it doesn't...
we're seeing that shit.
Yeah, no, it's because that looks bad in the other kind of way.
Oh, that looks amazingly bad. That looks like the kind of bad that you want out of a movie like this, but you're not going to get.
Like the cast of the characters and shit, and it's like Zachary Levi, Tracy Morgan, Keegan-Michael Key,
Oprah's in this.
Oprah, and then at the end there's just this. They just put up the list of all the names, and at the last one that they didn't do in the original scroll through, Christopher fucking Plummer. And it's just like, did that say Christopher Plummer? Like.
Fuck. But I can't fucking wait for that movie to come out. I hope you enjoyed this. I am not sure what's coming out next week, but look, the Emoji movie
can't possibly be worse than this.
Probably won't be. This is bad. It's
like, honestly, what they showed a short before this movie, and it was a Hotel Transylvania short, and it was bad, but it was better than the movie.
Yeah, it was significantly shorter. It was at least prettier to look at. Yeah, the Emoji movie sucks. We'll see you next week.